Let's talk about OrbitKit's Printify integration. If you're not already familiar, OrbitKit lets you queue up all your designs to be published, then handles positioning the artwork and filling in all the product details for you. It's completely free to use with Printify. If you haven't already, just create a free OrbitKit account and follow along here to see how to set things up. We start in our OrbitKit account and go to Venues and Blueprints. Then click in the corner there to create a new venue, select Printify, click Add, and now you have a Printify venue in OrbitKit. Click Connect to connect it to your Printify account. If you're not already logged into Printify, you may be asked to sign in here. Then accept the permissions. Close the window and refresh the page, and you'll see the connection status. The connection is good, so we'll move on to creating a blueprint. A blueprint is an example listing that OrbitKit will use to create new listings featuring your designs. We start off by going to Printify to create that listing. For our first example, we'll make a blueprint for a 20-ounce insulated bottle. Notice how the selected store is Etsy here. You can use OrbitKit to create listings that sync out to multiple different marketplaces, and later we'll show how to do that with the Shopify store as well. First, we'll put a placeholder design within the printable area of this product. The outline of this design will form the area that OrbitKit uses to place the artwork of any future designs it publishes. For this, any image will do, but it's best to use images that don't have any transparent margins so it's clear where the boundaries are. Different products might also need different dimensions. For this product, I'll use a tall placeholder. You can reposition this image to your liking and use the preview button to see how the mockup looks. The magenta boundary in this case is what OrbitKit will use later to fit the artwork to as it publishes to Printify. I like this placement as is, so I'll click Save. To create the blueprint in OrbitKit, copy the URL from the Edit Design page of that Printify listing we just created. Then go back to OrbitKit, click Add Blueprint, and paste it in. Click Save, and you should see your blueprint with the mockup showing which Printify listing it's linked to. In our blueprint settings here, we have this Publish on Sync checkbox. By default, when we create a listing at Printify, we won't have Printify publish it out to the underlying store. That gives you a chance to make changes in Printify if you want before publishing. And also, since Etsy charges a 20-cent listing fee when you publish there, we want to make sure automatic publishing is something that you opt into. Since this is an Etsy blueprint, I'll leave it unchecked. Later, when we create a Shopify blueprint, I'll show how automatic publishing with this checked works. One last thing I'll do is add Etsy to the name of this blueprint, since it's linked to an Etsy store in Printify. Later on, when we have a few Shopify-linked blueprints as well, it'll make it much easier to keep track of what's synced where. So now we're fully set up and ready to publish our designs. I'll demonstrate with just one design, but keep in mind you could queue up your entire library of designs, walk away, and end up with hundreds of listings without having to touch a thing. Choose Exhibit to publish the design, choose the blueprint, we only have one so far, then click Exhibit. It starts in publishing state, and as OrbitKit works, it'll move to Ready. And with publishing complete, we have our Ready exhibit. You can click through to the item at Printify to see that it placed the artwork in the area defined by our blueprint. Notice how the transparent margins are partially outside the canvas. OrbitKit fits your artwork to the area you define in your blueprint and scales it as large as possible to fit within that area. If we look at the listing itself, we can see the title and description have been filled out, and pricing and other details match our blueprint listing. If we choose, we can click Publish to send this to Etsy, or make changes here first and save as draft. Let's create another blueprint on our Etsy connected store, a can cooler this time. This product has a more complicated canvas and really shows off OrbitKit's automatic positioning. We want to have our artwork on both the front and back of this product. In order to do that, we'll add our placeholder image twice. The first goes on top, right side up, scaled to fit the area, and centered horizontally. Then we add the placeholder again. This time we'll put it on the bottom half. We scale it to the same value as the top image, and rotate it 180 degrees so that it appears right side up when the product is sewn together. Use the preview to make sure the product looks as you expect, and both sides are facing the right way. We can see in the side view here that they are. After saving, we can go back to edit anything else we'd like to carry over to our OrbitKit generated listings. We can set the title image here, but unfortunately that is one of the few things that doesn't carry over. Setting that is missing from Printify's API, and when they add that, we'll make sure to include it in our integration. However, let's change the price so you can see how OrbitKit generates listings that match the price we set here. With everything set, we'll click Save, then grab the URL and make a blueprint with it in OrbitKit. Again, we'll add Etsy to the blueprint name to keep things organized for later. And this time, we'll pick a design with some very pronounced margins baked in, so you can see how OrbitKit handles positioning in an extreme case. Let's exhibit this, selecting our Can Cooler Etsy blueprint. And with that complete, you can see positioning came out perfectly. The images fill the area defined by our blueprint and are scaled so the margins lie outside that area. The bottom image is rotated to match the flipped one from our blueprint. The title image here doesn't match our blueprint because of Printify's missing API, so we'll select the view we like before publishing. But we can see that the price we set has come over. Now let's take a look at how to set up a Shopify store on Printify and publish to it in OrbitKit. Go to Manage My Stores, click Connect on a new store there, select Shopify, enter your store URL, and connect. It'll take a few seconds, but you should see this confirmation screen. Click Install App, and you'll be taken to your Shopify store with Printify installed. There's nothing further you need to do here, so let's go back to Printify. Now you can select the Shopify connected store. Just like we did with our Etsy store, we'll create a blueprint for this Shopify store, but this time we'll choose a button as the product. Since the printable area of this product is round, we need to pick an image that fills the space as best we can. In this case, a square is the best we can do. We scale it to fit as much of the area as possible without going outside the target area. Previewing helps us see how it will turn out. I'll be a bit conservative here because I want to make sure any images I have that use corner space don't wrap around the button. So now we'll create a new blueprint in OrbitKit as we did before, this time marking it as a Shopify blueprint. And we'll check the Publish on Sync checkbox this time to show how publishing using this integration can create listings at Shopify without having to click Publish on each one. This time we'll publish a design that has a wide aspect ratio to show what happens with extra vertical space on this product. And you can see that the image has been centered in the button. Let's compare the area we defined in our blueprint to the published listing. The image was scaled to fit the available width and then centered vertically. Now let's take a look in Shopify to make sure that our listing has been published there. Since we had Publish on Sync checked for this blueprint, OrbitKit has taken care of publishing this listing all the way through to Shopify. I'll use the preview button here to show what it looks like to a buyer on my store. Now let's do one final example using an apparel item this time. We'll choose a baseball tee, but all apparel items are positioned like you'll see here. Again, we position a placeholder image on the product, and copy the URL, and create a blueprint with it. With the blueprint created, I'll skip ahead to show what that rowboat design looks like, published using that blueprint. You can see that the image has been aligned to the top of the printable area, since aligning to the middle would look a bit odd on apparel. So there you have the complete rundown on OrbitKit's Printify integration. And for another quality option for publishing to Shopify and Etsy, be sure to check out OrbitKit Fulfillment.